Hello, welcome to BL-101 New Testament Greek for Beginners. The purpose for the following videos is to freely provide beginner New Testament Greek classes on the internet. Before proceeding on to this current lesson, please make sure you are completely familiar with all previous material. If you have any questions or need tutoring, please feel free to contact me. I would be more than glad to help when I can. Now, on to our lessons. In the previous lecture, we introduced the student to the Greek syllable structure, as well as the 3 types of Greek accents. With this lesson, we'll go over the 6 general rules of Greek accents. Rule number 1. The acute can stand only on one of the last 3 syllables of a word. So if you look at the acute, it can land on the Ultima, the Penal, and or the antepenult. The circumflex can only land on the last 2 syllables. So while the circumflex can be on the Ultima and can be found on the Penal, the circumflex will never be found on the antepenult. And the final part of rule number 1 is the grave. This can only be found on the last syllable, the Ultima. Rule number 2. A circumflex cannot stand on a short vowel. And take a look. We have the word again, lambanomen. Notice if we have a short vowel above the Ultima here, that circumflex cannot land on it. It can be on the long if it's in the Penal, or the circumflex can also be on the long if it winds up on the Ultima. But you will not have the circumflex standing above a short vowel. Okay? General rule number 3. If the Ultima is long, the antepenult cannot be accented. The penult, if it is accented at all, must have an acute. So if we take a look at our examples here, we have the word apostolo, apostolo. And notice that the Ultima here is long, the omega is long, therefore the antepenult cannot be accented. Another example is the word apostolou, apostolou. This is long, and if we take that, if that's the case, that antepenult cannot be accented at all as well, and that's what it's saying. So if it's a long here and a long here, the antepenult cannot be accented. The penult, if it is accented at all, must have an acute. So if we have the example here, apostole, well, that's short, so we can take that all the way back here, and the antepenult is accented. It can have the acute. Another example here is apostoloi, apostoloi. This is short, therefore that can have an accent. Well, now important note, if you are taking this class, you'll notice paragraph 10 in Machen says this: all diphthongs are considered to be long except the alpha iota and omicron iota, as long as these 2 diphthongs are final. Thus, oi in anthropoi is short. Why? Because it's the final omicron iota. But if we take that word anthropois, then the omicron iota is long. Why? It's no longer final. We have a sigma at the end here. So it's important to know your diphthongs, the rules of diphthongs. Diphthongs are always considered long except for alpha iota and omicron iota when they are at the very final end of the word. Okay? So that's why we take a look at the word apostoloi and that would be not a long but a short, allowing the antepenult to be accented. Okay? Rule number 4 of the general rules of accents. If the ultima is short, a long penult, if it is accented at all, must have the circumflex. Couple examples here. We have the word douleur. Douleur. The epsilon is short, and this is long, has an acute above it. Must have the circumflex. Here, another example. Douloi. Douloi. Omicron iota is short. The Omicron upsilon is long. Cannot have the acute above it. How can we have it? Well, take a look at here's douleur. There's the proper. You have a circumflex above the penult because you have that is long. Okay, the penult is long. Ultima is short. What about down here? Well, we have a long ultima and we have a long penult. So this would be an acute accent. Okay? Good. Rule number 5. A long ultima can have either the acute or the circumflex. So if we have the word Adelfu, well, that's long and it's the ultima, so it can have either the circumflex or it can also have an acute. Okay, we would have to know what the mechanics. Later on we're going to talk about noun accenting and verb accenting, and you'll be able to pick this up easily enough. Last but not least, rule number 6. The acute accent on the last syllable of a word is changed to a grave when followed without intervening mark of punctuation by other words in a sentence. So if we have the word Adelfoss, that's good. We have that set as a grave. Good. But if we have like Adelfoss apostolou, well, that grave cannot stand there because it's being followed by another word. So that Adelfoss would have an acute above it. Okay? And here's an example of what we cannot have. Adelfoss apostolou. Notice I placed the grave above the omicron there. That cannot happen according to rule number 6. Now don't let this overwhelm you. You're going to pick it up, these lessons, and you're going to do just fine. I would go back over the lesson material again carefully and try to get a grasp on this material. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. We're going to go over all this in a lab coming up, and we'll show you a little bit more in depth. Okay, thank you.